Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine navigating a world where social mobility isn't just difficult, but maybe almost an illusion, where the lines between, privilege and just precarious existence aren't just blurry, they're actively hidden.
Hmm.
A world where one family's desperate climb up the ladder, well, it inadvertently pushes another family even further down, and where something that seems so trivial, like a simple smell, can just ignite this powder keg of resentment.
Yeah.
That's the kind of really layered, unsettling reality we're diving into today. We're exploring a film that peeled back these exact layers. Our subject is the utterly brilliant and, well, genre-bending social thriller, Parasite, directed by the visionary Bong Joon-ho. Today, we're not just going to recount the plot. Our mission really is to dissect the film's elaborate story, its shocking twists, and its really profound themes. We want to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. We want to understand why this film resonated so much globally, defying cinematic norms, and, yeah, ultimately made history.
What's truly fascinating here is how Parasite goes way beyond just entertainment. It's meticulously crafted commentary, like a mirror held up to contemporary society. Bong Joon-ho doesn't just tell a story, he masterfully uses, well, every visual detail, every single character interaction, every plot turn to create these sharp social observations. He explores the insidious dynamics of class struggle, deception, and just survival.
Right.
It's a film that demands you look beyond the surface, you know? It challenges your assumptions about who the parasites truly are, and it forces you to acknowledge the unseen layers of suffering beneath the polished facade of our world.
Absolutely. And to truly grasp the um, the seismic shifts that happen in this story, the ingenious deceptions, and the devastating consequences, we need to start exactly where the film does, right at the bottom. Or rather, in the semi-basement apartment of the Kim family. The film immediately just plunges us into the crowded, sort of subterranean world of the Kims. You've got Ki-taek, the pragmatic father, like
Mm-hmm.
Chung-suk, the resilient mother, Ki-jung, the sharp-witted and incredibly artistic daughter, and Ki-woo, the ambitious but maybe somewhat naive son. Their cramped, semi-basement apartment in Seoul isn't just a setting, It feels like a character itself, constantly reminding you of their struggle. You instantly feel their economic desperation right from the first frames. You see their eye-level windows offering this literal grimy view of the street outside a world just passing them by, a world they can see but can't quite access, can't truly belong to.
It's more than just a visual cue, isn't it? It's a really profound statement about their existence. Their daily lives are a stark testament to their poverty and their incredible, almost relentless resourcefulness. We see them meticulously folding pizza boxes for just meager pay. It's this repetitive, low-wage task that immediately symbolizes their underemployment and the sheer grind of survival.
Oh, the grind.
It's not just a job, it's a physical manifestation of being trapped at the very bottom of the gig economy. And they're constantly scrambling for basic necessities, like, desperately trying to steal Wi-Fi from their neighbors, which it's a small detail, but incredibly powerful. It highlights their lack of even fundamental modern amenities, the things many of us just take for granted. This isn't about luxury, it's about basic connectivity.
Oh, and the fumigation scene.
Right.
That's one of those deeply uncomfortable yet unforgettable moments that truly defines their reality. They deliberately leave their windows wide open during the city's pest fumigation, basically enduring toxic fumes just to get free pest control, to save a few dollars.
It's jarring.
It's so jarring, it's
Mhm.
unsettling, and it immediately establishes the extreme, almost self-harming measures they're willing to take just to survive. It's a raw, visceral depiction of how pervasive and, well, dehumanizing poverty can be. It forces people into choices that seem utterly unbelievable, maybe even irrational from a place of comfort and security.
Exactly. It highlights a fundamental difference in perception. For the Kims, survival means embracing discomfort, while for others, comfort is just the default.
Precisely. These initial scenes aren't just exposition, they are immersive experiences. They don't just tell you about the Kin's economic plight, they show you in stark detail their palpable sense of being on the absolute fringes of society.
Hmm.
They're living a life that's largely invisible, unacknowledged, and certainly unvalued by those above them.
Hmm.
For many viewers, I think it immediately resonates with a deeper understanding of urban poverty, not as some abstract concept, but as a lived, suffocating reality where dignity is constantly under threat.
Yeah, it grounds the story in a very real, uncomfortable truth about contemporary class structures. Before the wild, sort of genre-bending ride even truly begins, it forces us to acknowledge that these struggles aren't distant. They are often happening just a few feet away, completely unseen.
And then, just when you think their lives are hopelessly trapped in this relentless cycle, a glimmer of hope appears, or at least what seems like hope.
Right.
Kiwoo's university friend Min-hyuk, he's a student from a more privileged background, pays a visit before going abroad. And he offers Kiwoo this lucrative tutoring job for Dahai, the teenage daughter of the incredibly wealthy Park family. This isn't just a job offer, it's the catalyst. It's the crack in the wall, the tiny, almost imperceptible opening that allows everything else to flow through, setting the entire complex plot in motion.
It truly is the turning point. And Minhyuk doesn't just offer the job. He presents Kiwoo with the Scholar's Rock. Now, this isn't just some decorative stone. It's steeped in Korean tradition, often symbolizing wealth, prosperity, scholarly success, a potent good luck charm. On the surface, it's a tangible symbol of the hope and good fortune. Minhyuk is seemingly bringing into Kiwoo's life a physical embodiment of a wish for upward mobility. It carries with it, centuries of cultural weight, making it much more than just a prop.
It almost feels like a magical totem, doesn't it? Like something out of a fairy tale promising a path to a better life. But as we quickly come to learn, this scholar's rock, initially presented as this beacon of possibility, becomes this incredibly double-edged symbol. It's a beautifully cynical piece of foreshadowing.
Yeah, it really is.
It hints not just at the Kim's desperate aspiration for wealth and a better life, but also at the hidden dangers, the moral compromises, and the unexpected burdens that can come with pursuing that aspiration through, well, illicit means. It almost feels like a perverse superstition, providing this false sense of justification or good luck for their subsequent morally ambiguous deceptions. It's a gift that promises prosperity, but ultimately delivers destruction.
That's a powerful observation. It sets the stage for everything that comes next, laying the groundwork for a narrative where fortune and misfortune are just inextricably linked, often in the most unexpected ways. This rock isn't merely a plot device. It's a profound thematic anchor for the entire story, constantly reminding us that what looks like a blessing can quickly turn into a curse, particularly when it's built on such a precarious foundation of lies. It represents the weight of their ambition and eventually the crushing weight of their failures.
And what a foundation of lies it becomes. This brings us to the masterful infiltration of the Park household, a truly ingenious, if ethically fraught, operation. It reveals as much about the Kim's cunning as it does about the Park's blind spots. So Kiwoo, now calling himself Kevin, arrives at the sprawling Park mansion. He's armed with these incredibly convincing fake university documents, forged, of course, by his sister, Ki-jung, who turns out to be an absolute genius at this kind of meticulous deception.
She's amazing at it.
He presents himself to Yang Kyo, the Park matriarch, and immediately you see her character so clearly. She's portrayed as somewhat naive, easily swayed by appearances, and deeply status-obsessed. It's his very susceptibility to perceived elite status and exclusive recommendations that Kiwoo so cleverly exploits. He barely has to try that hard to impress her. Her own prejudices and desires do half the work for him.
That's a crucial insight into the film's social critique. Yeon-kyo's gullibility isn't just a convenient plot device. It's a sharp, often darkly humorous commentary on the wealthy class. They live in such a sheltered, insulated bubble that they're often completely blind to the realities outside their immediate privileged sphere.
Right.
They implicitly trust appearances and recommendations from their social circle, or what looks like their social circle, making them remarkably easy targets for anyone clever enough to understand their blind spots. This vulnerability highlights a peculiar kind of naivete, born of never having to truly struggle or critically assess situations outside their comfort zone. They're so accustomed to deference and expertise, they just don't question its origin.
It's almost as if their privilege has kind of dulled their common sense, blinded them to genuine human cues. Once Kiwoo gets his foot in the door, the Kims waste absolutely no time. They quickly realize how susceptible the Parks are, how ripe for manipulation, and they craft this incredibly detailed, almost theatrical plan to embed themselves deeper and deeper into the household. The precision and coordination of it are just breathtaking. It's a true testament to their collective, desperate ingenuity.
Indeed. Each subsequent step is a calculated move and a grand strategy performed with remarkable conviction. First, the sister, Ki-jung. She's introduced as Jessica, an elite art therapist for the Park's young, somewhat eccentric son, Da-song, her Jessica only child Illinois Chicago routine. It's delivered with such practiced conviction, such deadpan earnestness. It's both hilarious in its audacity and chilling in its effectiveness.
It is. It's amazing.
It showcases how well she understands the psychology of the Parks, what kind of elite background and professional demeanor they would find impressive and trustworthy. It's truly a performance art in itself. designed perfectly to fit their expectations.
And it works like a charm, right?
Yeah.
Establishes her as this indispensable presence. With Ki Jung securely in place, they move on to the next phase,
Yeah.
getting their father, Ki Tek, hired as the driver. They orchestrate this elaborate, utterly ruthless scheme to frame the existing park driver.
Mm-hmm.
Cold. They plant incriminating evidence specifically, a pair of women's underwear in his car, making it seem like he's having an affair or engaging in inappropriate behavior. It's cold, it's unethical, and it immediately leads to his dismissal. And naturally, Keytek is then conveniently recommended by Jessica as a reliable replacement, supposedly from a separate, impeccable network. It's so meticulously planned, you almost begrudgingly admire their, well, criminal genius, or maybe their survivalist genius.
It is a remarkable display of ingenuity, undeniably born of intense desperation. But they're not done yet. The mother, Chung-suk, is the final pivotal piece of their human jigsaw puzzle. They set their sights on Moon Gwang, the longtime housekeeper, a woman who has served the parks faithfully for years. The Kims frame her by fabricating symptoms, making her appear gravely ill and unclean, suggesting she has tuberculosis, a highly contagious and stigmatized disease. It's a truly insidious tactic, playing on the park's deep-seated fear of contamination and their unconscious class-based prejudices, their aversion to anything they perceive as unclean from the lower classes.
And just like that, Moon Gwang is summarily fired, clearing the path for Chung-suk to be hired as the new housekeeper, completing the circle. So by the end of this astonishing phase, all 4 Kim family members are now employed by the parks, each operating under these meticulously fabricated identities, each pretending not to know the others, weaving this incredibly intricate web of lies.
It's a colossal house of cards.
Totally. Built on layer after layer of deception, held together by sheer nerve and desperate ambition. Here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just about getting jobs, it's about the moral cost of such a climb.
What's truly fascinating is the sheer level of coordination and theatricality involved. From Ki Jong's perfectly rehearsed routine to the detailed planning to frame both the driver and the housekeeper, it speaks volumes about their collective intelligence, their deep understanding of human psychology, and most importantly, their raw, unyielding survival instinct. They've basically weaponized their understanding of the upper class's biases and blind spots. They exploit the park's desire for convenience, their trust in recommendations, and their ingrained class prejudices to their full advantage.
But this upward mobility comes at a steep, undeniable price, doesn't it? They're literally climbing over the backs of others who are also struggling, or at least are entirely innocent of any wrongdoing. It forces you, as a viewer, to question the profound moral ambiguities of survival. Are their actions justifiable given their desperate circumstances? Or are they just perpetuating the very same exploitation they're trying to escape?
Exactly. The film doesn't offer easy answers. It presents this complex ethical dilemma that leaves you grappling with shades of gray.
It absolutely does. The film deliberately avoids glorifying their actions. Instead, it simply lays bare the harsh reality that in a highly stratified society, climbing the ladder often means actively pushing someone else off. Zero sum. It underscores that competition isn't just economic. It can become a ruthless, zero-sum game for basic survival and, crucially, for dignity. And this elaborate house of cards they've built, while impressive in its construction, is inherently fragile, unstable. It sets the stage for its inevitable, spectacular collapse. The very foundation of their success is rotten with the injustice they inflict on others, particularly those even less fortunate than themselves.
And what a collapse it is. The tension truly ratchets up when the Kims find themselves in a moment of stolen luxury, a brief, intoxicating taste of the life they aspire to, before everything just shatters in the most unexpected way.
So the Parks, utterly oblivious to the intricate web spun beneath their feet, go away on a camping trip, leaving their opulent hilltop mansion vacant. And the Kims, seizing this golden opportunity, descend into the celebratory frenzy. They revel in their perceived success, enjoying the lavish house as if it were their own, drinking fine liquor, eating gourmet food, truly basking in the stolen comfort. It's a moment of illicit triumph, a brief, intoxicating taste of the life they aspire to, a symbolic victory over their former squalor.
It is indeed the absolute peak of their deception, a moment where they feel utterly untouchable, where their audacious plan seems to have fully succeeded. But the film masterfully infuses this entire scene with a palpable, almost suffocating sense of dread. As a viewer, you instinctively know that this stolen comfort, this lavish indulgence, is just far too good to last.
You're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Exactly. This house of cards, built on such a precarious foundation of lies, means that the fall has to be not just spectacular, but devastating. There's an inherent instability to their joy.
And spectacular it is. That very night, there's a sudden, jarring knock at the door, a chilling punctuation mark on their revelry. It's Moon Wang, the longtime housekeeper they had so ruthlessly framed and gotten fired. She claims she left something important in the basement, making this desperate plea to re-enter the home she had served for so long.
And this is where the film delivers its most pivotal, stomach-dropping twist. Moon Guang doesn't just re-enter the house, she desperately pleads to access a hidden door in the basement, revealing a secret underground bunker.
Unbelievable.
And within that bunker, in the most shocking and visceral revelation, is her husband, Gensei. He has been secretly living there completely unseen for years, hiding from relentless loan sharks. Moon Guang, overwhelmed with desperation, pleads with the Kims to keep their secret, threatening to expose their own elaborate deception if they don't comply. It's a brilliant narrative device that completely flips the script.
What's truly fascinating here is how this twist immediately shatters the Kim's comfortable deception. It's not just a brilliant plot complication, it's a profound deepening of the firm's social commentary. The bunker isn't just a hiding place, it's this stark, horrifying metaphor for the truly unseen, exploited underclass, the stratum of society that lives literally beneath the notice of everyone else.
Right.
Just when the Kims thought they were the parasites cleverly living off the rich, they discover another layer, an even deeper, more desperate stratum of society living entirely beneath the surface, completely off the grid, barely surviving on scraps. It's a reminder that no matter how low you think you are, someone else is always lower, always more desperate.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the bunker powerfully symbolizes the layers of unseen suffering that exist beneath the polished, pristine surface of society. The Kims are struggling, undeniably, but Gunsei and Moon Wang represent an even lower rung, completely dependent on the crumbs from the wealthy above, living a life of literal, absolute hiddenness. This reveal forces the Kims, and by extension us, the audience, to confront the uncomfortable idea that there are always those beneath you, often in unimaginable, utterly dehumanizing circumstances, simply trying to survive. This twist not only complicates the plot, but deepens the film's critique of class and hidden lives, forcing a reevaluation of who truly benefits and who truly suffers.
And the revelation of the bunker immediately spirals into utter, nightmarish chaos. Moon Guang, discovering the Kims' deep connection to each other and their shared deception, quickly records them threatening her, turning the tables with shocking speed. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, the parks call.
Oh, God, yeah.
They're on their way back home, their camping trip abruptly cut short by a torrential rainstorm. It's this frantic, nail-biting race against time, a scramble for survival in the face of imminent exposure.
The tension in this sequence is absolutely excruciating. The Kims have to scramble desperately to hide Moon Guang and Junsei, clean up every shred of evidence of their party, and return everything to its immaculate state before the parks arrive. The climax of this immediate chaos is that incredibly tense, claustrophobic scene of the Kims hiding under the living room table overnight while the park couple returns and unknowingly discusses them, literally just inches above their heads.
It's unbearable to watch.
It's masterful cinematic suspense, making the audience complicit in their fear.
And what do they discuss in that moment of casual intimacy and unwitting cruelty? The smell. Mr. Park repeatedly makes these casual, condescending comments about the distinct smell he associates with poor people, specifically Kedak. He finds it offensive, subtle, but persistently noticeable. The irony is just excruciating. The very people he's discussing, the supposed source of this offensive smell, are literally beneath him, hiding in plain sight, enduring his dehumanizing commentary. This specific detail, this casual, almost unconscious dehumanization based on an invisible class marker, is a crucial turning point that profoundly impacts Kedak. It's not just a casual observation, it's a symbolic barrier, something he can't wash away, something that defined him in the eyes of his employer, regardless of his efforts.
It's profoundly dehumanizing, isn't it? The Parks aren't explicitly malicious, they don't intend harm, but their ignorance, their unconscious bias, and their complete lack of empathy are just as damaging. They're so far removed from the Kim's reality that they can't even perceive them as fully human, reducing them to a mere scent, a subtle but persistent reminder of their otherness.
Yeah.
This casual disdain, this deep-seated prejudice plants a seed of deep, corrosive resentment in Keatak, solidifying his internal rage even as he's physically trapped and utterly helpless beneath the table. It's a slow burn that will inevitably ignite.
And the very next morning, after enduring this humiliating and terrifying night, the Kims sneak out during a storm, only to find their own semi-basement home completely flooded and destroyed. Their entire world, what little they had, is literally washed away, submerged in raw sewage and rainwater. They're forced to take refuge in a crowded gymnasium shelter, along with countless other displaced people from the lower reaches of Seoul.
This sequence dramatically juxtaposes the Kims' stolen night of luxury with their real-life devastation. The flood is not just a natural disaster, it's a powerful, literal representation of their world being washed away. A brutal reminder of their incredibly precarious existence and how quickly everything can be lost when you have so little to begin with. It's a visceral illustration of how global issues like climate change disproportionately impact the most vulnerable populations.
And amidst this devastation, the smell returns, haunting Keatak. He's silently fuming at the park's complete obliviousness to the Kims' profound suffering. While the Kims have lost everything, their home, their possessions, their sense of security, the Parks merely had their camping trip cut short, a minor inconvenience that barely registered.
Right. Annoying for them, catastrophic for the Kims.
Exactly. The smell in this context becomes an even more potent symbol, embodying the insurmountable class barrier, revealing not just deep-seated prejudice, but the dehumanizing effect of poverty itself. This is where Keatak's internal rage truly solidifies, moving from humiliation to a simmering, uncontrollable fury that will inevitably explode. It's the final, unforgivable insult.
It's the point of no return for him. The film cleverly uses the natural disaster to highlight the vast, unbridgeable chasm between the two families' realities. For the Parks, it's an inconvenience, a brief disruption to their pampered lives. For the Kims, it's utter catastrophe, a complete erasure of their already meager existence. And that condescending smell comment, uttered by Mr. Park with such casual disregard, becomes the final, unbearable straw, embodying all the invisible slights and indignities they've endured throughout their lives. It's the moment the mask of subservience begins to crack for Keatak.
The stage is now set for the film's explosive, tragic climax. All this simmering tension and deep-seated resentment, the accumulated indignities and desperation, finally boil over at what should be a joyous occasion. Dasong's birthday party, a symbol of the park's carefree affluence. So the parks throw this lavish birthday party for Dasong. It's an extravagant outdoor garden party, opulent, filled with laughter and sunlight, a deliberate, jarring contrast to the Kims' recent trauma of losing everything in the flood. The Kims are, of course, there, but in their roles as workers, as servants, forced to maintain their charade of normalcy and cheerful professionalism amidst their own personal devastation.
You have to perform.
They're performing their roles, serving and smiling, even as their lives are literally falling apart, and that potent rage is boiling just beneath Keatak's surface. It's a theatrical performance of subservience that has reached its breaking point.
This setting is profoundly crucial. It's a joyous celebration for the wealthy, a picture of effortless prosperity and casual spending, and it serves as this incredibly stark, almost cruel backdrop for the simmering tensions and the impending catastrophe. The Kims are quite literally invisible servants at a party where they are the subject of unwitting disdain, their very existence reduced to their function. The performative aspect of their roles under such dire circumstances amplifies the pressure on them to an unbearable degree. Every smile, every pour of champagne is a further affront to their dignity.
And then the true, shocking chaos erupts, shattering the idyllic scene. Gunsei, who has been trapped in that wretched bunker, witnessing his wife, Moon Gwang, fatally injured from an earlier brutal scuffle with the Kims, finally snaps.
Yeah, he just loses it.
Enraged, mentally unstable from years of isolation, and utterly consumed by grief and desperation, he escapes the bunker and sneaks into the garden like a ghost from the very foundations of the house.
The immediate, visceral violence that follows is truly shocking, designed to jolt the audience. Gunsei, wielding a knife, attacks Kijung, fatally stabbing her in the midst of the party. It's a sudden, brutal act that immediately plunges the celebratory atmosphere into terror and bloodshed. Kiwoo is also tragically knocked unconscious in the chaos, leaving Kitek as the sole, conscious witness to the horrifying unfolding tragedy, a witness whose own life is collapsing around him.
It's horrifying.
The film shows the explosive consequences when the unseen and ignored finally erupt.
This moment is a horrifying release of all the suppressed desperation and rage from the film's hidden depths. Mungguang and Ginsei, the original hidden figures, those truly unseen by society, become the instruments of chaos, exposing the fragile nature of the Kim's deception and the explosive, utterly tragic potential of ignored suffering. It's a visceral, heartbreaking culmination of all the layers of societal neglect, showing that the system ultimately consumes everyone, regardless of their position.
It truly is. This raises an important, deeply unsettling question for the audience. Who is the true parasite here? Is it the Kims, who live off the parks through deception? Or is it Gunsei, who lives completely hidden, dependent on scraps? Or, perhaps, is it the very systemic structure of society itself, one that creates conditions where people are forced to such extremes just to survive?
That's the question, isn't it?
The film expertly blurs these lines, showing how desperation can drive anyone to seemingly monstrous acts, revealing the dark underbelly of unchecked inequality.
And it's in that moment of absolute pandemonium, with his daughter Kijung dying on the lawn, bleeding out in front of him, that Kite commits his final, most tragic and utterly shocking act. He kills Mr. Park. It's not in self-defense against Gunsei, not a direct, retaliatory blow against the man who attacked his daughter. It's an act of pure, distilled rage, a culmination of every indignity he has suffered.
The why behind Kitake's specific target is absolutely crucial here. It's not a rational act. It's born out of unadulterated rage at Mr. Park's cold, almost robotic reaction to the dying Kijung. Even amidst the chaos, with his own son in danger, Mr. Park is repulsed by the smell of Gunsei, who is bleeding, and he shoves Kitake away while trying to get the car keys to take Da Song to the hospital.
That final push.
That gesture, that continued casual disdain for the smell which has haunted Kitake throughout the film, even as Kitake's own daughter lies dying, is the breaking point. It's a symbolic act, a furious strike against the systemic dehumanization represented by Mr. Park's dismissive, oblivious attitude. It's the final insult that shatters his composure.
It's the ultimate devastating consequence of class contempt. Is the absolute breaking point of human dignity, where years of humiliation, of being seen as less than human, of being reduced to a mere offensive odor, culminates in this singular violent act. It perfectly demonstrates how deep-seated prejudice, even if it feels subtle and unintentional to those expressing it, can have devastating, explosive, and irreversible consequences.
Yeah.
The film suggests that when you constantly push people to the margins, when you deny their humanity and their right to exist with dignity, there's always a risk of a violent backlash, a brutal reckoning.
It's a very raw, uncomfortable truth about the potential for violence and rupture when social divides become too vast, too ingrained, and too invisible to those at the top. The film doesn't offer a simple villain or a clear hero. It presents a profound tragedy born from systemic inequalities, where every character, in their own way, is trapped by their circumstances. Be it the suffocating privilege of the Parks or the dehumanizing poverty of the Kims and Gunsei. Each character is a product of their environment, leading to an inevitable clash.
The aftermath of that party is immediate, brutal, and absolutely devastating. Kitake, having committed the unthinkable, disappears in the ensuing mayhem, vanishing without a trace. Days later, we find Kiwoo awakening in the hospital, recovering from his own injury, and he's faced with the utterly tragic reality. His brilliant sister, Kijung, is dead, a casualty of the chaos, and his mother, Chung-suk, is now on trial, facing charges for the violence.
The family is just shattered.
Utterly broken, their dreams gone, their lives irrevocably altered.
The swift and brutal consequences highlight the profound fragility of the Kims' dreams and the incredibly high cost of their audacious deception. Their ascent was so precarious, built on such shaky ground, and their fall is catastrophic. The family unit, which had been their strength and their collective driving force in their climb, is now completely fractured, scattering its members to different fates, all tragic.
And then, in a chilling echo of the film's earlier revelations, Kiwoo learns his father's new, desperate reality. Kitake is now hiding in the bunker, having taken Gonzei's place. He's surviving off scraps left by the new, unsuspecting family who has moved into the park house, completely unseen, living out his days in a subterranean prison of his own making, a prisoner of his past actions and the very system he tried to infiltrate.
This detail perfectly closes the loop on the bunker's powerful symbolism. It's no longer just a shocking twist. It's revealed as a perpetual trap for those pushed to the absolute margins of society. Regardless of who occupies it, whether it's Junsei or Kitek, it represents a hidden, unseen life of desperation, a literal and metaphorical cycle of suffering and subjugation that seems impossible to escape.
Wow.
It's a powerful and deeply unsettling image of permanent entrapment, a chilling reminder that the solution for one marginalized person merely creates a new problem for another.
And the film concludes with this incredibly bittersweet, almost heartbreaking sequence. Kiwoo, back in his own squalid, semi-basement apartment, writing a letter to his father. It's filled with this earnest, youthful hope and determination. He promises to work hard, earn enough money, and one day buy the house to reunite with his father in freedom, to bring him back into the light. It's a beautiful, earnest promise, a testament to his son's enduring love.
It is, and the film immediately delivers the gut punch, the crushing reality. It cuts back to Kiwoo, still visibly older but still in the same semi-basement, still stuck in the very same life of poverty, revealing that his earnest promise is, in fact, just a dream.
Oof, brutal.
It's an incredibly powerful and devastating ending that profoundly underscores the film's harsh, unyielding message about the illusion of upward mobility in a deeply stratified society. It strips away any false hope, leaving us with a stark truth.
It leaves you with such a heavy, lingering reality. It truly drives home the point that systemic poverty and the rigid, often invisible class barriers are often insurmountable. Regardless of individual ingenuity, effort, or even audacious schemes, dreams of escape can remain just that, dreams, perpetually out of reach, a comforting fantasy that shields one from a brutal truth. It's not a feel-good ending, but it's an incredibly impactful, honest, and profoundly truthful one. Leaves a deep impression.
It forces the audience to confront the persistent, often invisible barriers that exist within society, suggesting that even if an individual temporarily escapes their circumstances through extraordinary means, the underlying system remains unchanged, perpetuating cycles of poverty and desperation. It's a critical, poignant commentary on the enduring nature of social stratification, a truth the film refuses to sugarcoat.
And that profound, lingering feeling, that uncomfortable truth, is precisely why Parasite resonated so deeply across the globe, becoming more than just a film, but a cultural touchstone. Let's truly dive into its core themes and enduring legacy. So if we take a step back and look at the entire narrative, the core themes and symbolism just jump out at you, forming an incredibly intricate tapestry. One of the most brilliant aspects is how the film so effectively uses physical space to illustrate the vast chasm of the class divide.
Absolutely. The film brilliantly uses vertical space, the Kim's squalid semi-basement apartment, the park's sprawling, sun-drenched hilltop mansion, and then, most shockingly, the hidden underground bunker to represent social stratification in a visceral way. This physical distance perfectly mirrors the emotional, economic, and even psychological distance between the different classes.
Right, the higher you go.
The higher you go, the wealthier and more oblivious the residents become, living in their bubble of privilege, and the deeper you go, the more desperate, unseen, and literally hidden the lives become. It's a stunning visual metaphor for the entire brutal social hierarchy.
Then there's the pervasive theme of deception and identity, which runs through the Kim's entire infiltration. Each Kim family member adopts a fake persona, a new identity, a fabricated history, just to climb this precarious social ladder. Kiwoo becomes Kevin, Kijong becomes Jessica, and so on. It's a fascinating exploration of the fluidity of identity when faced with extreme circumstances.
And this isn't just about simple trickery or con artistry. It's about the profound psychological toll it takes. They have to constantly perform, to live a lie, to suppress their true selves. This blurring of lines between their true identities and their fabricated personas raises crucial questions about authenticity, the sacrifices people make for survival, and the mental burden of perpetual vigilance.
Yeah, the burden.
Do they lose a part of themselves in the process? The film certainly suggests that this constant performance is exhausting, inherently unsustainable, and ultimately destructive to their very sense of self. It speaks to the burden of code switching, not just for a moment, but as a way of life.
And remember that Scholar's Rock, given to Kiwoo by Min-hook in the beginning. Initially, it symbolized hope, ambition, prosperity, a kind of good luck charm for success. But as the story unfolds, with cruel irony, it repeatedly becomes a tool of disaster. Kiwoo uses it as a weapon in the climax, and it contributes directly to his traumatic injury. The symbolism shifts drastically.
That thematic shift is incredibly powerful and deeply cynical. The Scholar's Rock perfectly encapsulates the film's bleak view of aspirations and the true cost of upward mobility. What starts as a symbol of good fortune ultimately brings violence, injury, and deeper misfortune. A potent metaphor for how aspirations of wealth or social ascension, when pursued through morally compromised means, can become an unbearable burden and even lead to utter destruction.
Wow.
It's a bitter reminder that not all gifts are blessings, especially when they come with the weight of illicit ambition.
And then there's the infamous smell, this seemingly minor, even trivial detail. The subtle odor that the parks associate with the poor becomes one of the most crucial, potent, and ultimately impactful symbols in the entire film. It's brought up repeatedly, each time with increasing weight.
It truly is a masterstroke of subtle symbolism. The smell isn't just an unpleasant scent, it's a physical manifestation of deep-seated, unconscious prejudice and class bias. It's an invisible, pervasive barrier that the Kims literally cannot wash away, no matter how hard they try to assimilate, no matter how clean their clothes or how perfect their performance.
You can't escape it.
It symbolizes the ingrained class bias that prevents true upward mobility, constantly reminding Kutek of his predetermined, lowly place in society, regardless of his efforts or talents. It's a visceral, deeply dehumanizing marker that ultimately pushes him to his breaking point, because he simply cannot escape it. It's embedded in his very being, in the fabric of his class. It's the silent judgment of the privileged.
And finally, the bunker itself.
Yeah.
Beyond being a shocking and pivotal twist, it becomes the ultimate haunting metaphor for the societal underbelly.
The bunker is the ultimate chilling symbol for the vast, suffering underclass living unseen, literally beneath society's polished, comfortable surface. It represents a hidden layer of struggle, desperation, and even literal imprisonment for those pushed to the absolute margins. It's a stark reminder that beneath the visible structures of wealth and comfort, there's a forgotten, suffering world existing in parallel, sustained by mere crumbs, enduring in the dark. It challenges the viewer to acknowledge the unseen human cost of extreme wealth disparity and systemic neglect.
It's all these intricate layers of storytelling, the profound symbolism, the sharp social commentary, and the genre-bending brilliance that elevated Parasite to what became, well, a global sensation. It earned overwhelming critical acclaim for its razor-sharp social commentary, its seamless blend of thriller, dark comedy, drama, and even horror, and its incredibly powerful visual symbolism that we've discussed.
Its global impact truly cannot be overstated. Parasite made history at the Academy Awards, achieving unprecedented success by winning 4 Oscars, including the highly coveted Best Picture, Best Director for Bong Joon-ho, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film. This was an unprecedented sweep for a non-English language film.
And the truly groundbreaking part, the moment that sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. It was the first non-English language film to ever win Best Picture. Ever, cementing its place in cinematic history and fundamentally shifting perceptions.
Yeah, huge.
It blew past decades of precedent, proving definitively that a film's impact, its storytelling power, and its universal resonance isn't limited by language or country of origin. It broke down barriers that many thought were permanent.
The question then becomes why? Why did this particular film resonate so strongly across such diverse cultures, from Korea to the West and everything in between? Its themes of class struggle, aspiration, the desperation for dignity, and the hidden lives of the poor are profoundly universal, even if the specific cultural context is Korean. It forced viewers, regardless of their background or economic status, to confront uncomfortable truths about societal structures, about wealth disparity, about the gig economy, and about how we perceive and treat those who are deemed other or lesser. It holds up an unforgiving mirror to the audience, making them question their own assumptions about class, privilege, and indeed, about who the parasites truly are in our world. It speaks to a global anxiety about economic precarity and the growing divide.
And that's what makes it such a powerful and enduring piece of cinema. It's not just entertainment. It's an experience that provokes deep thought and unsettling questions long after the credits roll, an experience that truly lingers in your mind. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Parasite, what an incredible journey it's been through its powerful narrative, its intricate layers, and its profound social commentary. It's a film that truly demands a second, third, or even fourth watch to fully appreciate its genius.
After this deep dive into Parasite, maybe consider the unseen layers in your own environment. What hidden struggles or social dynamics might be playing out just beneath the surface or even right under your nose that we might be overlooking? Perhaps a reevaluation of who is truly dependent on whom in society.
A powerful thought to sit with, and one that the film demands we consider long after the screen goes dark. If you haven't seen Parasite, or if you have, we highly encourage you to re-watch it with this new perspective on its intricate layers and deep symbolism. Or maybe explore other works by Bong Joon-ho, who consistently tackles similar challenging themes with such incredible artistry and fearless social critique. You won't be disappointed.